Hi, my name is Ruth, and I got married last year. And a lot of people ask me, how on earth did you do that? Especially at a time when dating apps have made things so complicated. And the more I thought about it, I realized that it was actually creating a paradox in the dating world. Because yes, it's easier to find people these days, yet somehow it's more difficult to connect with them. I think it's because dating apps do a really good job of telling you who you're attracted to, and not so good at telling you who you have chemistry with, who you'll connect with. Dan Ariely, he conducted a study and he asked people, describe your ideal mate. And time again, people would describe experiential traits 5 times more than searchable traits. An example of an experiential trait would be, I want someone that makes me laugh, or I want someone that makes me feel confident, as opposed to their age, their height, or whether they like cats or dogs. I think what this tells us is that we actually understand humans from an experiential level. In other words, it's not so important what it is that we say in our profile or who we say we are. What's more important is how we experience being together. So then I started to ask, how can we actually design interactions that foster connection? I've studied the conditions to create connection from multiple perspectives, from philosophy, neuroscience, and psychology. And I applied those concepts with design thinking, and I devised a social experiment. So I wrote a blog post to describe the experiment. I found 30 strangers, willing strangers. I got them to fill out 2 surveys so that I can unearth those experiential traits and to see if I could create an environment for real connection. And I called this experiment the Crush Club, and here's what happened. So I'd like to point out that this is authentic footage. I did not hire actors. It was incredible to see within a couple hours people high-fiving, laughing, and really acting like old friends. So since that, I've actually decided to throw 3 Crush Clubs in total with 3 different age groups. I've had over 100 guests attend with 300 people signed up, and it's growing. And I'm excited to say that there's a 40% match rate. And at Crush Club, you can also have not just romantic crushes, but friend crushes and collaboration crushes too. So what is the Crush Club? Essentially, it's a new approach to dating. It's the first dating app that actually turns into a live experience. How does it work? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is fill out a 10-minute survey. There's no profiles, there's no messaging, there's no swiping. All you have to do is wait to get invited to a party. And you can actually look at the guest list beforehand to see who will attend. And at the end of each party, you're going to give me some feedback. On the back end, I actually curate these guest lists. So I take those survey results. I use semantic analysis to actually plot them into archetypes, which describe your values, identity, and behavior. And then I group them into tribes, or the guest list. Have you ever heard of the phrase, birds of a feather flock together? Well, Mikhail Kosinski conducted research that actually proves that there's scientific proof in this, that we tend to form strong bonds with people that we align with these archetypal values. And I should also mention that you can be part of multiple tribes, that I try to make sure that they are diverse and inclusive. And then I send out invitations. And at the end of it, you tell me who you want to match with. And also over time, I'm learning who you actually connect with. So I'd like to go over how I actually designed for connection. And I'd like to go over the components of Crush Club. So first, it's really setting the right environment and tone and using this idea of novelty. Every event is actually secret and revealed 24 hours before, but as soon as you arrive, it's warm, intimate, and inviting. I also don't make it a speed dating event at all, but I encourage people to discover one another. I get them to fill out prompts like, I'm currently obsessed with, my guilty pleasure, I have an irrational fear, and I print out everyone's responses and I tell them to play a game. Pick out the responses that you love and see if you can find them at Crush Club. It also works really well as an icebreaker, and it's really easy to jump into conversation without any awkwardness. I also started to think, how could we design and shape our physical environments for connection? And I drew inspiration from Victorian conversational chairs, which were originally designed so that people can have intimate conversation in a public setting. What's great about them is that it makes you instantly comfortable and it helps you open up. But it also lends to natural eye contact, which is scientifically proven to build real connection even with strangers. I also invite people to actively share. So along with these conversational chairs, I have these cards and prompts so that people can reveal things that they wouldn't normally share, which naturally leads to active listening. So here's an example of a card. It's called Spotify and Chill, and I ask people to pick their favorite songs that are most meaningful to them. And this has been really effective in leading into deeper and deeper conversation. And so you're wondering, do all these components work? Does it lead to connection? Well, so far, this is what people have told me.
Pretty easy to talk to people. I made a new friend, yeah.
Yeah?
She's gonna take me out for brunch.
Since the fact that it is curated, you have a certain connection with most of the people in the room. Whether or not they're strong connections, you'll figure it out as you talk.
Well, I came here, I thought it was BS. I think it's really cool. I think it works. I've got a lot done in a short amount of time than messaging someone for a week or 2 weeks.
So I think dating apps have given this misconception that there's a shortcut to relationship building. And Crush Club is different because it actually teaches people to be active and actively participate in that process. I think Crush Club creates the right environment and it suspends dating expectations and fear so that people can learn and discover through experience how to connect, how to be vulnerable, and allow themselves to be seen. I think these lessons are really valuable in changing the culture around dating, but they can also be applied to all of our relationships. Because when we begin by cultivating connection first, when we begin to cultivate connection first, it will not only make us happier, it'll improve our quality of life, but it will also teach us to put our humanity first. Thank you.